Where is the presentation? Which one is this? This is lecture 4. There's no other. Yes. Okay, good morning, everybody. Now, yesterday I somehow finished part of the topic on why do startups fail. This is a very important topic, so I'll be continuing from there, and it may not be possible to really move to the next one, even though I sent you the 2 minutes read yesterday on a different topic. Let us try to see just a quick recap by the time other people also joins. Okay, so first thing is the data that shows that a lot of startups fail are not so accurate. So let us never be intimidated by this data that most people fail. So there is hardly any probability that if I start, I'll be successful. Let us not think that way, because there are many things. People make a lot of mistakes. They make wrong hypotheses. They cannot create value for customers. Most important thing is you have to create value for their money. Suppose a customer, I hope you understand what is the value for money. Suppose I want to buy a pen, and there are maybe say 20 options to buy, 20 different types of pens, maybe at the same price or maybe slight variation. Now suppose I get a pen for rupees 10, and that is better than all other rupees 10 pen. That means that company gives me a better value proposition, and I will always try, if I understand quality, if that transparency is there, I'll always buy that. So it goes without saying for any other businesses. We have to really target to give superior value proposition. I think I defined value proposition in the document. Nevertheless, value proposition is a basket of properties or features of your product, including your business process, how you provide the value to the customer. So in some way or the other, customers should think that you are providing them better value for their money compared to that of the competitors. And then they will not buy your competitor's product, they will buy your product. That is the whole objective. So you offer superior value proposition in terms of price, in terms of efficacy. Efficacy means the effect of the product to alleviate the pain to the level they can do. Say you take, say, crocin for that matter, for fever, for reducing body temperature, and there may be 10 such pills. Whichever does quickly and easily is a better product. Please mute. Someone is unmuted. Please mute. Is there 2 meetings running? Again, there is echo. It should not. Echo happens when there are 2 meetings, either one in cell phone, another in laptop or something. So please don't start 2 gadgets simultaneously. Then there are problems. There will be echo. Now, yeah, moving forward, let me go with this mode. Then this is a very important quotation. I mentioned that everywhere, all I want to know is where I am going to die so that I'll never go there. Meaning, if we know the mistakes that people are committing and failing, you will not commit the same mistake and you will not fail, something like that. Fail forward is very important. During the entire course, at some exam or the other, you will get this quotation and you have to explain what do they mean. Fail early, fail often, and fail forward. Now, this data is not so much important. I mentioned about this. We'll be mentioning about this during our discussion on marketing management. When you think of acquiring customers, it is it is relevant in every discussion, in every slide deck. This is important, particularly the crossing the chasm thing. There is a book called Crossing the Chasm, written by Geoffrey Moore, and this book is a bestseller. And talk to any entrepreneur, chances are that he or she must have read this book. So whether for this examination or for anything else, you should lay your hands on this and just go through that. It's a very small book, not many pages. Just read that. It is not just chasm, but it talks about the whole life cycle of startups and many other mistakes, and you will not commit that same mistake. Likewise, there are many books. I have referred many books in the outlines of the course, and at the end of the outlines also there are some 5-6 books. Those are kind of wonderful books. Sometimes I don't get the right adjective, so I have to manage. So here there is something called valley of death, which happens at the early stage of the company, when companies struggle to validate their product and then move forward, but somehow they fail to do that, and then they start burning so much cash that at this point, at the bottom, they cannot go up, meaning they die there. They end their journey there. So this happens because of many things. Most importantly, they do that. They try to develop a product based on their understanding of technology. They think that if I know technology, I know how to manage a business. This is a mistaken philosophy. Number one. Number two, they don't plan for cash flow. And on fine morning, they find that there is no money. The moment you see that there is no money in the bank, you are gone. You cannot really move forward unless you can immediately organize fund. So organizing fund requires months of effort. It is not that unless your dad or uncle or somebody is sitting on piles of money, it's very difficult to find money. Nobody wants to give money just like that, particularly if you go and tell somebody that I need money immediately because I have run out of cash. They will think that you are not a good manager. So why should I give you my money to mismanage? If you had any business acumen, you might have managed your fund flow, and then you would have approached me at least a month before, or maybe 6 months before this happened. So this is very important. And second, after valley of death, there is another valley of death, second valley of death, and that is nothing but chasm that happens. Majority. Early adopters are people who are not so much reliant on feedback of others. They are kind of okay. Suppose people say that this product is not so good, but then okay, fine. Some people say this is exciting, I am good. So they rely on a few people's recommendation, and they're not so finicky about many features, etc., not the aesthetic beauty of the product, and they're okay. So like in innovators, they are not bothered about many things that early adopters will be interested, but then early majority wants absolute validation. Before buying, they will check many products, and wherever they will see that there is a 4.1 star given by 500 plus people, and your product has just 4 point, but then it has been given by 200 people. So they will go and buy the other product. They will not buy your product. This 4.1 and 4 will make so much of a hell of a difference that you won't be able to acquire any new customer. All of them will go to the other companies. So here you will have no growth at all. And by this time you have already acquired almost whatever possible people are there under early adopter category. So now you cannot acquire new customers, and you have reached to a kind of a saturation. And after you reach saturation in any business, you are gone. Even after early majority, when you reach a level of saturation, you have to adopt some means, meaning you have to change the product quality, or say change at least the cover of the say packaging, and then some new feature, etc., to relaunch your product and acquire a new trajectory of new innovators type of customer, new early adopters, new early majority. So your product goes to that dotted line, orange dotted line. So it keeps on, at every time when you think that we are you are reaching to some sort of a saturation, meaning the rate of growth of our customer acquisition is kind of tapering off. Immediately you have to think again, and then revisit the product portfolio and introduce some new products with better features. That's what you will find, that car companies are coming with new cars every now and then. Tata Motors is scheduled to launch at least 6 cars this year, to 2021. So you can imagine, why do they do that? Because for launching a single car, you need investment of maybe hundreds of crores of rupees. I think 500 crore rupees is required to put an assembly line, new assembly line. So why do they do that? Because every car gets saturated unless you have a flagship like, say, Maruti, what is that, Desire, or what is that, something like that. Some cars that keeps on selling because they give a new kind of experience. Experience is a new word I'll be referring to many times, and I'll set up some question around this. Experience means today's customers like you guys, you may have 5 alternatives to buy, but then after buying some product, you will say, wow, I didn't expect this. This is wonderful. So that gives a kind of excitement. So that is called some new experience. Suppose when you open the box of a new cell phone, you don't have to do virtually anything. Everything comes packaged and you just push a button and it comes into life. You will have such an experience. You will feel that you will be forgiving about many other things. Suppose the package is not so good or something, but then the first experience is so nice that you will feel that this company is good. Next time I'm going to buy this product, or you're going to tell your friends, even though the product is not so good, you're going to tell your friend, this is a wonderful product because of that experience. So people value experience greatly. Okay, let's move forward. I think we talked about this very extensively. Like 42% of the companies fail. It can never be overemphasized how many times, no matter how many times I mention, because this is the most serious mistakes, and the maximum percentage of companies fail because of this reason. Because most of the technocrats, particularly people without a business background, they they tend to think that if we understand the technology, we understand how to manage the business, and if we know better than anybody else what customers are going to buy. I am repeating, maybe I have repeated 10 times, but then still you will see that even I perhaps will tend to float a company and then come up with a product that I think customers will buy, instead of getting it validated by many other people. So these mistakes will always be there. We have to be extremely mindful about that. 29% fail because they ran out of cash, meaning they don't do the cash flow. And I'm going to teach you entirely how to make a projected cash flow. 23% fail due to disharmony among founders. There are ways and means to avoid this. We'll discuss that when we talk about founding teams in a big way. But for the time being, suffice it to say that teams should be bosom friends, meaning childhood friends are even better. So at least college friends with whom you have spent sufficient time, their moods, how they behave under certain stimulation. Suppose you are an honest person. Your co-founder, number 2, is not so honest. He or she wants to make a quick buck. And he or she will be compromising on quality, compromising on promises, etc., and you cannot tolerate that. Within no time, you will feel that this is intolerable. I cannot live with this person, meaning I cannot really run my business, and every time there is going to be conflict. You will not realize unless you face this problem. All of us has some kind of a psychological idiosyncrasy, meaning we have suppose somebody is, say, finicky about quality or say cleanliness, and somebody else is kind of casual. This guy who is so finicky about cleanliness, he or she will not be able to tolerate this untidiness under any circumstances, and they'll suffer. Both of them will suffer. Suppose somebody is creative, the other guy is not creative. Now the creative guy will have an eye for detail, whereas the other guy who is not creative will think that why this guy is so obsessed about perfectness. These two guys will never be able to be on the same page ever, and they will create so much stress that it will be difficult to go together. So these are some things that at the beginning you may think that I'll somehow manage. And that is how even married people, they realize that it is so difficult to go together unless some of them, either of them or maybe both of them are highly compromising, unless they're mentally prepared that no matter what will make it a success. It is very difficult to stay in peace, both in business and in family. Both must have the mentality to accommodate the other. Both must realize that we are genetically inclined like this, and we really cannot modify the other guy. We cannot modify myself. Obviously, we cannot expect the other guy to be tuned or whatever, molded like me. It's never possible. So in the business also, if you are ready, the other guy also are ready, perhaps a team can go together. And if you are absolutely not compromisable, meaning that you want this is the right thing and everybody should do this, gone. There is no business at all. 19% failed because outcompeted for many other reasons. By the way, I just forgot to mention that if you add all these percentages, it will not add up to 100. They will add up to something maybe 200, something much beyond 100, because there are repetition. Because there are these companies, many companies failed because of multiple reasons. So they feature under different heads. This is a wonderful information. That is why we don't bother about that anomaly. Before this information, there was nothing to trust, and I could, in the class, if you would ask me why companies fail, I would be giving my experience or some information from some blogs, etc., etc. It's kind of not so cool information. Wonderful example of this is, wonderful example of the first category of failure is this one. Iridium. They started in 1998 by the right people. They had wonderful chemistry because they were all from telecom company. Everybody was a billionaire. Everybody was a billionaire. I think 5 co-founders, and they were the corporate who's who in telecom industry. So if those guys will be giving a presentation before any venture capitalist or any forum for that matter, everybody will show them the thumbs up. They will say that, go ahead, we are there. We are going to pour all our money behind you. Just go ahead. Whereas they made this simple mistake. They committed this simple mistake and burned $6 billion. Not just that, they burned their time also. They spent so much of time building this company. Then there were so many satellites floating in the space. They could not do anything with that. Eventually, they had to sell for $35 million. That was not even peanuts compared to the investment they made. 6,000 million and 35 million. It is not even a cup of tea for them. Why did they fail? They did not try to understand, meaning they did not get it validated that this is our idea. They did not go to customer. Will you buy this if we offer you this? If they would say, yes, we would like this because this is wonderful, then they should have told them that, okay, I'm giving you a handset, buy this and give me this money, $5,000, and every call will be $200, etc. Perhaps then they would say, not now, perhaps you come later. That is an indication that they are not going to buy. So you have to really get real money from somebody in exchange for your product as a right validation, as a meaningful validation of your product or service idea. And the more I talk about Iridium, the less will be extensive, less extensive it will be. Meaning you can always, emphasize and overemphasize about this fact. Of course, now look at The timing, at some point of time, I'll be telling you that there is one guy called Bill Gross. He's a successful, I think I mentioned many a times perhaps already. Bill Gross is a successful entrepreneur. He floated more than 100 companies, and many of them are unicorns. Some of them are decacorn, meaning $10 billion valuation. He studied and found that timing is the most important ingredient for business success, or factor that drives business success. Timing. Like Iridium came at some point of time and died a natural death. Now there are a dozen companies who are doing the same business and they are doing it successfully. Our own Airtel has partnered with a company, UK government. Bharti Global has partnered with UK government with $500 million investment by each, meaning $1 billion investment. They are doing the same thing. They have already launched several satellites. They are means time sharing some satellites with other companies. Elon Musk has started, Jeff Bezos is starting, and there are dozens of companies, not dozens, but there will be at least a dozen companies who are doing the same business. They are doing wonderfully well. So how many years? Quite a number of years. So they were ahead of time. Timing, that is why, is very, very important. I'll connect this when I talk about Bill Gross. So we actually have a tendency to overlook all these factors, even if we know so many stories, but eventually we'll commit the same mistake. So don't focus merely on building the product, but focus on customer acquisition, customers' pain, and how, to what extent your product solve customers' pain. What extent of utility your products fulfills. It should fulfill the entire utilities that customers are looking for. And people say that, suppose you talk to your friend one fine morning while brushing your teeth, maybe in the night you get an idea, you tell your friend, I got this idea in the night. Your friend says, wow, this is wonderful. You should not immediately think that, wow, I have got a business idea, now I should go and start the business. You should understand there are many, many levels of satisfaction. First of all, your friend never likes to dishearten you or discourage you. So they will say, nice, nice, nice. Now, suppose you ask me, sir, do you want to buy this? I would say, why not? That means it is called nice to have, meaning it's okay to have. I can buy, but then when I have to really shell out money, I'll think twice. Then I'll say, on a second thought, perhaps I don't need this. But if your product is something that I say, I must have it, only then you should manufacture and sell. If I say nice to have it, if 100 people say nice to have, then out of them only 2-3 people will buy. Rest of the people will not buy. So Ash Maurya, that is what says, that life is too short to build something that nobody wants. We should be very careful about that part. Okay, somebody is bothering me on my telephone. I have to silence that. Anyway, let's continue. I'm kind of getting too much drawn into that. A founder gets an idea and then he builds the solution. That is what happens. Tries to sell it. Nobody buys the solution. The founder runs out of money. The startups die. Dies. Your goal should be to solve a meaningful problem of target customer in a competitive way. So you will revisit this like this. You don't spend so much time to build the solution. You just build something that is called minimum viable prototype, show it to the customer. Customer say, rubbish, I don't want this. Come back or ask him or her that which particular element you hate. Then they will say, okay, this. Or they will say, I don't like anything of this. Then you tell him that you are definitely using some product. Can I have a look? Then you try to understand why some product that they are using is better. So, and then show pointedly that, look, your product has this feature. My product also has that feature, but slightly superior. Don't you think so? Perhaps that man will say, okay, it is there. How does it matter? Then you identify another feature. So your objective is not to convince the guy. your objective is to understand deeply whether the person is emotionally driven or is talking very practically from a practical point of view. We need to understand this practical point of view very well rather than emotional things. People will say, wow, your product is wonderful. Then also you should prod inside deeper as to why do they think that this is so wonderful. If they're using another product, you definitely ask a question. Let me see what you are using. Why do you think that my product is wonderful? Particularly for which features? And for which feature you might think that my product is not so good. Identify them, come back, increase that so that you can give them a far better experience. Okay, running out of cash. I have perhaps told so many times. I have given an example. These are a small example. I didn't go deeper. Just buy live. Consider this. An Indian e-commerce company, there is $120 million. 120 million. Not a small sum, 900 crore rupees in India. Many sources mention the cause of failure as unscalable business model and negative cash flow. They were doing a business of B2R, meaning it's almost like Alibaba. They were connecting with manufacturers, many manufacturers, and on the other side, they were selling it to retailer, B2R. But then they made so much promise to the manufacturers that we will give you a higher price, whereas they could not realize that higher price from retailers. So they were burning cash. They thought at the beginning, we'll burn some cash, acquire customers, and moving forward, we'll be able to have a big number of registered users. Then we'll start charging them money and then we'll have millions of dollars. If you are not already familiar, Amazon was incurring losses for 11 or 15 years, something like that. I think 11 years continuously. They were burning cash. They were incurring losses, cash losses. I'll explain cash loss later when we talk about financial statements. But then they were continuously acquiring customers and investors were looking at it. Every time they used to make a presentation before new investors, they would say that, look, our registered users are increasing by 25% every year. So investors are happy that if it is increasing by 25% every year, this company is going to make money moving forward. Now they are making filthy money. So that is how Jeff Bezos, the richest man. Now, of course, Elon Musk. I was waiting for some company with brick mortar kind of a business to become the richest man. This online thing is all, digital. There is nothing substantial at the back end. Whereas Elon Musk has a factory, as a brand, as whatnot, technology. It is driven by cutting edge technology, doing so much good to the environment and whatnot. So that kind of a founder should be the richest man. As per me, of course, let us not debate on that. I'm not okay for a debate. Okay. So our India Mart also does the same thing. And if you look at India Mart share price, you'll be surprised. Their share is selling something like 5,000 rupees for 1 rupee share. That means almost like 50,000 rupees a share. 10 rupee share would be 50,000 rupees. I think the almost one of the most valuable companies in Indian market, India Mart. Again, a digital company like. Okay, somebody is unmuted. Please mute. Please. Drone startup Airwire shuts down after burning $118 million. This is a wonderful example. Yesterday I was in a hurry, so I didn't elaborate. They were manufacturing the best drone under the sun. I repeat, the best drone. Just a minute. Let me check whether I'm making a mistake. There is another drone company. Yeah, this is the company. They were not making the best drone. I'm sorry. They were making the operating system of drone. They are making operating system of drone, like Microsoft makes operating system for PCs and laptops. They were making operating system for drones. And there were very few drone companies in US. Majority of them were in China. And China, even now, are not so much technology focused. They are market focused. They want to capture market with a cheaper product. They sacrifice on features. So they're not technology driven. So this company, Airwire, they thought these guys are no good. Their products are no good. Our software is so complex, so complicated that these drones cannot exploit many of the features that we built in the operating system. Get this. With this operating system, if there are intelligent drone, intelligence comes from the software, but if there are drones with so much of arms and components, only then they can exploit the whole features of this operating system. But they talked to Chinese manufacturers. They said nothing doing. We are happy. We are making money. So we are not going to make our drone more complex. Whether you want us or not, we will do this. So this company, what they did, they started manufacturing drones that can exploit their operating system well. Now, there are two lessons here. One is, if you are good in something, you are good in that and you can actually shine in that. If you think that I'm good in this, I'll be good in another thing. That is a very difficult proposition. I will never say that is an impossible proposition, but it is a very difficult proposition. Only people like Mukesh Ambani, Ratan Tata, they can do that. Like Ratan Tata from a petrochemical can migrate into a telecom company because he can hire maybe 100 CEOs in different domains of different technologies. We cannot do that. He can start a company that will be autonomous, that will never ask or look upon Mukesh Ambani for funda, for guidance. The company will be autonomous. Without Mukesh's any interference, the company will run. So it is almost like an independent company. But for us, if we have to run two companies with different domains, it is very difficult, particularly hardware and software, two heaven and hell kind of different ball games. One cannot do both. So they had a natural death. They could not shine in hardware and they were burning cash in software. They died. That is lesson number one, that you should not diversify into some unrelated areas thinking that if I can do something good, I can do another things even better or maybe equally good. Number one. Number two is, after they died, their employees told that these guys were not managing their fund judiciously. They were what is the right word? Throwing money left and right here and there, which is not necessary, because they had millions at their disposal. So if they needed some $5, they spend maybe $15, just like that. I can give you my personal experience. I was in a bank and I have visited many startups, and some of the startups who were kind of slightly upper middle class people, and they got huge loan from bank through political connection. They start spending money like that. There was a company at Jhargram, very close to Kharagpur. They were processing cashew nut. I still remember the factory is still lying there, meaning the ruins of the factory is there. So from Jhargram, if some peon would be going to station, they will be saying, "Sir, station jana hai," to drop the letters. He would say, "Take the car," and he had 5-6 cars waiting at the doorstep. That was long back. Only Ambassador and Padmini Premier used to be available. So he had 5 latest Ambassador waiting in front of his company, and even a peon would be going by car. Whereas an entrepreneur will make a buck go a long way, meaning that you will never ever spend a single paisa if you can avoid spending that. That should be the core mantra. If that is not the mantra, there will be no success at all. Just trust on Lakshmi. If you do not respect, it's going to go away. No matter whatever you do, respect money. Respect money is the first and the last mantra. Everything is in between. Okay. So this company, they burnt money, and the people on whom they burnt money are the same people who criticize them later that they spend money without really proper thinking, meaning they were not thrifty enough. Okay, so be judicious on spending money to people who themselves will criticize you. It's a bad luck. Don't do that. There are many more examples. This we already talked. See, this I'll talk about about a company called Rivigo later, but for the time being, Easy Truck. They were a truck logistic company. They raised 1 crore rupees. They ran out of cash very quickly. Whereas Rivigo came slightly later and they created billion-dollar company in a very short time. This is a wonderful example. I'll be talking about them in a separate class. Maybe half the class will be on this, on empathy perhaps. Outcompeted. MonkeyBox, the blue venture-backed food tech startup, shut down in 2018, even after taking over the food delivery. They took over some companies, did this, that, but then they failed because they could not compete with the competitors. There are many more examples and there are many more other reasons also. So read those reasons. I'm not so much interested about those. I'm interested about the most important ones. Okay, this is again very important. I'll spend another 2 minutes on this. Business process management. So you may think that I have a wonderful product, I have got it validated by customers, and I have put in place all the logistics perfectly okay. So there is no stone remaining unturned for me to enact a success story. Just remain prepared for surprises, because it is not just the validation and the product and the logistics. There are many more things actually. You will eventually at the end of the class, you will realize that there are many things for us to be successful. But then you don't have to know everything. You just have to be careful. You have to have this holistic idea that there are so many things that needs to be kept in mind. So you entrust somebody or the other giving the charge of that domain, and it is done. And you have to have a checklist whether you are keeping an eye on everybody or not. And it'll look like, it'll be like a bunch of fruits. Every fruit is connected at one place, and you are trying to monitor, not regulate. Just have an eye on them and see that nobody is neglecting their duty, so that everything looks like a team. Okay, wonderful idea, great product, great technical team with complementary skill. You understand complementary skill? Meaning that somebody is a technology guy, somebody is a designer, somebody is a marketer, maybe one guy is a finance guy. So you have complementary skill. Whatever total knowledge you need, somebody or the other has that, and you have everything together makes a whole. So even though you have complementary skill, still you are not guaranteed for success. Why? Because everything should work together. There should be harmony among the team. There should be somebody to handle everything that may come. Suppose a customer approaches somebody and complain about something, say logistic. So who should take care of that? The logistic guy will say, it's not my job. My job is to ensure that products from factory comes to the market. It is somebody else's job. There should not be something like that. Everything should be so well organized that if there is any issue going haywire, there is somebody who is responsible to tackle it, and he or she takes care of it so that it goes smoothly. Otherwise, it will just break. It will be an obstruction that will be unsurmountable. So let us not have this kind of a problem before us. So that is what is business process management. Every aspect of the business, you should know what are the aspects of the business, and everything should be connected, that if this is going haywire, there should be another team that will jump into action, and then they will solve this. And this is where you need CEOs who are experienced, and they know, like managing a party, say a marriage party or anything. If somebody is in charge, he will know what goes haywire during dinner time, what goes haywire on the mandap, etc., etc. So they will have an eye on that. And if anything going haywire, they know that where to find this immediately. Even at the middle of the night, they can telephone somebody and it will come. So everything is otherwise perhaps Pandit will say without this marriage cannot progress, something like that. So you need to have process enabled achievement of strategic objective, accelerating time to market, delivering improvements in cost, productivity, etc. Only then it's going to be a picture perfect thing. So read more about business process management. Business process is a big thing, and simplifying business process becomes effective, meaning if somebody says that your business model is not effective, meaning they want to mention this, that flow of information, flow of responsibility, means everybody has been given a responsibility, but nobody knows some of the things whose responsibility is that. That should not remain. Everything should be categorically mentioned, that not categorically means a basket of things, so that everything is covered. Providing greater visibility into your organization is very important. Like everybody knows what is your mission, vision, and all that, so that they know that no matter what we are trying to reach here. So they will remain focused on that. Now, if you are a one-person company, that becomes very difficult. Y Combinator president, now of course he left Y Combinator, Sam Altman, he has many lectures. In fact, he is the compeer or the organizer of the lecture series that I mentioned at Stanford. So you definitely know Sam Altman if you have read any of the viewed any of the video lectures. He says 2 to 3 co-founders are the best, not 1, not 4, not 5, but 2 or 3 maximum. Okay, let's move forward fast. What is the solution of all these problems, meaning business process? Ideally, you should have a combination of people that covers the startup triangle. One is a designer, another is an engineer, another is marketer. If there is no market, there is no business at all. Because with good people from a start, making something your customers actually like is almost like 100 times guaranteed. The long hours becomes way more bearable. You are spending 24/7 in your office. If you are surrounded with good people, it will be very easy to go. Otherwise, you will get distressed, disappointed, whatnot. Then you can pull each other through lows and celebrate the highs. Your perspective changes because now you are with a team working on something you believe in, with people you can learn a lot from, and that by itself is worthwhile. Let us move forward. Premature scaling. I'll just tell a story and I'll quickly shift from here. Anish Reddy was diversifying into countries. Anish Reddy is the founder of Capillary. So he diversified into 10 countries, but he was still burning cash. And at some point of time, he realized that managing has become very difficult, because from India, sending dollars as salary to other countries have become difficult, and managing and language have become difficult. So much of difficulty has come. Then Anish realized that we are actually diversifying too fast. We should stop it here. And then he realized that this growth cannot be managed by a startup founder. So immediately hired a top-notch CEO. I think from I forgot. We'll invite Anish Reddy at some point of time, so you get to know from him. So he realized that we need professional CEOs rather than managing the business ourselves. He recruited, and then the business was going so wonderfully well. So prematurely scaling, suddenly there is so much growth, you feel that we are already successful. Next day you realize there is no business and you file for bankruptcy, like Sophia Amoruso. So you have to have a problem solution fit, meaning a product that solves the problem perfectly well. Then there should be enough people so that your market size is good enough. And they solve the problem, gives you profit back. Second is product market fit. I think problem solution fit, product market fit is almost the same thing. Creating an in-demand product, meaning product has a demand. Third is channel fit, meaning you reach out to the people well and you can sell it online or whatever is easy to do, so that you don't end up spending so much money on logistics, and retailer will take so much margin, etc. And some stock will always remain stocked in the retailer's store. That will create huge problem for you to manage inventory, because that will not be paid stock, and your total inventory will require investment of maybe crores of rupees. If you borrow that money from bank, you're going to end up paying so much of interest every year, so much of money you may not even generate. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg, when he realized that now I am at a growth phase, he immediately, of course, this is not Mark Zuckerberg. See, he immediately started recruiting professionals for Facebook. And then he went at the side step. He was doing what a founder should be doing, meaning making business strategies, new product acquisition, like he acquired WhatsApp. That was his job. But then the business was looked after by professional CEOs. This is another lack of focus. Just read. I want to move fast because I have too many slides. Some companies overpromise, underdeliver. Be very careful about this. Just remember this line. Never forget this line. You have to underpromise and overdeliver so that customers become positively surprised. Suppose you say that this product will do this. Say 90% of this, or say 80%. But it does actually 85%. Customer will be pleasantly surprised. But if you say that this will do 90% and they see 85%, they'll think that, they will not even think that it is 85. They will say that this is good for nothing. They will say something that will look like it does 0%. Customers are not so forgiving. They are very rude and unforgiving. They are forgiving when you give them positive surprise. Suppose you promise 80% and it gives 95% or 90%, they will be forgiving about many other things. You only can fool some people sometimes. Sooner or later, you surely get caught. That is why never ever adopt fraudulent promises. Don't try to shortcut. People will catch you if you do any shortcut, and then you cannot run away. The business will not go anywhere if you do that. One fatal mistake is to think that if I know technology, I know everything. So don't do that. You read them. I'll share the slides in the slide form itself so that you can do editing or anything. As business grows, founders need to find people to do things so that they can do founder's job. This I have already covered. See, Michael E. Garber wrote the book E-Myth, and he mentioned this, that entrepreneurs, managers, and technicians are different people. In fact, yesterday I spent so much time on this, so I will bypass this. But you read them, they're very important. There will definitely be one question. And this time there will be some essay type question, short essay type question, because just by yes, no type question is not really bringing the best out of you. So I'll give at least something like 50% essay type question so that I can understand whether you understand or not. So this is again business process management. Read more about business process management, and this includes functional analysis, function of different aspects of the business, workflow, information analysis means how information is flowing from whom to whom, who should give orders to whom, and from there where it should move, etc., etc. Service analysis, after service, customer service. Another way of looking at failure. Failure may be due to mistakes, errors, carelessness, accidents, ignorance, hypothesis going wrong. So you do not know why people fail. So why to worry too much about failure? What I want to mean is, if you look at 97% people fail, you should also think that out of this 95% people, maybe there are 50% people who made mistake. They are ignorant about something. They are audacious people. They are kind of careless people. You never know. So why to bother about this failure? But you should know why they fail. If you know why they fail, that information is highly valuable. Major reasons why Indian startup fails. Not very different, but there are some new revelation. Lack of innovation and original business ideas. Lack of vision. Vision is something, let me explain. I'll explain when in the next class when you talk about mission vision. Vision is something, suppose you want to start a business. What is the vision for which you want to start a business? Suppose you have seen, like say Phanindra Sama. He encountered a problem while booking a bus ticket. So he thought, I must do something to alleviate people from this pain. That was his vision, that people have a lot of pain. Let me alleviate some pain. So he started with that vision. So If we do not have a vision, suppose one fine morning you see a TV serial or maybe in an internet somebody is doing something, you think that even I can do it, I can do it better, so let me do. So without any vision, you try to emulate somebody, copy somebody, you become a copycat. That doesn't help. Lack of market understanding, poor competency, poor execution, excessive focus on weaknesses. Meaning we do not have this, we do not have that. That is why we are failing. So failing becomes a mantra. Okay, cause of failure of Indian startup, lack of innovation. There are many data to drive home this point. 77% of the VCs believe that Indian startup are all Me Too company kind of startup. They are not innovative. Oxford Economics found that 90% of Indian startups fail within the first 5 years. There are many more statistics. I'm not going to ask you data as to what Oxford found, something like that, but some data are important. Now I cannot really tell you which data are important and which data. You use your common sense that this is very important. Like 42% of startup fails is very important. This data should be memorized absolutely. India doesn't have Meta like Google, Facebook, Twitter. We do not have that kind of company. China has Baidu, Alibaba, etc. So majority actually copy, try to replicate Western businesses like Lenskart. Lenskart is a copy of Warby Parker. I'll tell you the story about Warby Parker some other time. Let me make some progress. Otherwise, we will get like already I'm lagging one lecture. So let me just make some progress. We'll give a lot of examples later. India filed only 1423 international patent in 1516. I have data only for 1516. Japan filed 44,000. China filed 30,000. That is the state of affair of patent filing in India. You are the guys who should make change the trend. Creation of large percentage of venture are driven by passion to start a startup without compelling vision. What is shared vision? Shared vision is you have a vision and your co-founders also share the same vision. They also subscribe to the vision. Your early employees also subscribe to the vision. Only then you will have a synchronized team and you will move faster. And you will avoid conflict, because unless they share the same vision, there will be conflict every now and then. Market understanding, what the market wants. This I have been talking throughout the presentation. Poor competency or lack of willingness to hire professional. This is called Founder's Dilemma. There is a book by the title Founder's Dilemma. In a nutshell, that is founders think like Sophia Amoruso. They think that this is my baby and I know the pain of my baby, the good of my baby, not Mausi or grandparents who know what my baby is looking for. But then you lack experience. The grandparents have more experience, so give it to the grandparents when it comes to managing some of the illness or challenges that comes on a daily basis. So that is why when it is time, you have just crossed some phase, you should know when it is time to give the reins to professionals rather than holding the reins and then failing on business processes. Poor competency, lack of willingness to hire professional is called founder dilemma, and that is actually causing failures to many people, many companies. Early success and failure, venture needs professionals. Whether you are successful or whether you fail, you need CEOs, professional CEOs. Mark Zuckerberg, he said, he already relinquished the CEO position to professionals at the very early stage. And he says that it is not your resume that actually talks about your quality, your suitability. It is your character. Incredible leaders are respectful. They don't try for a shortcut. They don't do fraudulent things. They demonstrate integrity, because if you try to do shortcut, your entire team will realize very soon that you like shortcut. They will also start doing shortcut. And then eventually, very soon, you will be in the marketplace where everybody knows that this company is a fraudulent company. They don't have any credibility on whatever they say, etc., etc. They think beyond themselves and make smart and thoughtful decisions that is best for the company. They clearly understand what is the best for the delegate. And here is the graph for, you lose control, meaning you reduce the control and your financial gain will go, so you become rich. or if you do not release your control, you may be exceptional, but you may not be rich. And you don't have financial control, neither CEO means business process control. You may be the king, thinking that I am the king of this entire enterprise, but then there is no money. You are poor. Poor execution. I will talk about execution when I talk about the reasons why startups succeed. But I want to mention the second paragraph. See, strategy formulation, execution to create superior customer values, business process management, manpower planning, hiring, revenue model, marketing management, customer acquisition, customers retaining, brand building, managing growth, constant innovation to remain ahead of competition are all part of execution. So you can see that there are so many aspects of a business. There is nowhere it is mentioned must be a wonderful product. So there are so many things other than product which are to be taken care of to make a wonderful business. What can be done? Define clear objectives, goal, individual success metrics, and accountability. Seamless communication, collaboration. Everybody should know what you want, what you are actually doing. একটু দেখবে কে ফোন করছে আমাদের হেড কিনা একটু দেখো market problem, lack of product market fit means you have to give more value to the customer than building cutting edge product. That is very important. Marketing change in product, making or refining change in products at the early stage is easy, then making them later on. Suppose you are developing a product, so try to make the product as complete as possible rather than thinking that let the product go to market, let us make some money, gradually we'll develop whatever. That becomes very difficult later on because your machinery should be recalibrated to accommodate new features of a product. Don't promote mediocrity, meaning don't try to put your brother or your early friend, your buddy, school buddies to responsible position even though they lack that talent. So always focus on talent while thinking of giving responsibility. If somebody is highly talented and you think that he is more talented than you, someday he can even challenge, he is the best person to run the business. Never look down upon them, never irritate them or bother them, pay them even more money than what you earn. He or she will run your company better and make success. That is very important. Inability to raise capital, ignoring cash burn is another reason. Not following the validated learning process. I mentioned this. See, the difference between average people and achievers are like this. Average people blame others for failure. This happened because this guy did not do this. That doesn't help. You have to take responsibility. Take responsibility, learn from every mistake, and you know that failure will always be there, etc. Read them thoroughly. And Maxwell says the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people are their perception of failure and their response to failure. Some people fail and run away. Some people fail, learn, and then fail forward. Here are some excerpts from 21 Irrefutable Law of Leadership. You can read them, you can Google them and find this entire 21 laws of leadership. That should remain with you for the entire part of your remaining lives. So try to focus on this. Just a second, let me take the attendance first, and then I can perhaps just a second, download attendance. Is it coming? Just a second. I'm sorry, I'm exceeding on my time, I believe. Just a second, let me just finish this, otherwise, yeah, the attendance is here. So, yeah, no, there's not much. It's almost here. We have already completed this. Yeah, some except you read. What is the root of achievement of success? If you think that family background, absolutely no wealth, absolutely no opportunity. If you give same opportunity to two different person, one person will say this is a great opportunity, he will become a successful entrepreneur. Another person will say I don't see any opportunity in this, this is bogus. So there is no excuse to be given for failing. some final words that you can, it's a repetition of whatever I said. Benjamin Franklin said, drive thy business or the business will drive you, meaning that you will be crazy about firefighting. And these are the same thing: fail fast, fail early, fail forward. With a broader view now about causes of failure, you know how to avoid them. Do not let failure statistics intimidate you, etc., etc. Concluding remarks: life is too short to build something that nobody wants. Muria said, I already mentioned. And whatever, there are some more slides. I don't know where they are. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for exceeding my time. Thank you.